there's many of us that will live with cancer and have to coexist with this disease. And the idea that we can give a voice and now faces to the issues behind living with metastatic breast cancer is the goal of Advocacy in Action. Elise Spatz-Kaplan is the Director of Programs and Partnerships at Living Beyond Breast Cancer. And I want to thank you again for really being a great partner to this project.
Thanks so much, Selma. It's really a pleasure to be here. This issue, metastatic breast cancer, is critically important. It's what we hear at Living Beyond Breast Cancer day in and day out. And so I think it's really timely and relevant, and I'm delighted to be part of the program. Musa Mayer is author of the first guide on metastatic breast cancer, has been advocating for more than 16 years on behalf of the metastatic breast cancer community.
The core of what we really need here is research.
Yes, indeed.
And talk to us about what we need, why, the obstacles, your vision.
You know, I've been saying for years, we're not really researching metastatic breast cancer. And the pushback I often get is, but of course we are. Every new drug in breast cancer is tested in metastatic breast cancer patients. To which I say, yes, that's true, but it's not really designed for metastatic breast cancer patients. For the most part, what we see is that the drugs that are initially tested in metastatic disease go on to really save lives in early breast cancer. In part, that's the nature of the disease, that metastatic breast cancer is much more difficult to treat, as you've already heard. It is responsible for almost all deaths in breast cancer. But there has been, until quite recently, a real lack of research focus on specific issues in metastasis. For example, tumor dormancy. Why does, in the case of both Maria and Shirley, what was going on during all those years where there was no evidence of that tumor? We don't really understand what puts, obviously there were remaining tumor cells in their bodies, but what woke them up? What is that process that researchers call tumor dormancy? We don't know a lot about it. We don't know how to measure it. We don't know how to look for it. And we need the kinds of research initiatives.
We talked for a moment about dormant cells and just the importance of trials, and your exact words were trials that are focused on why they wake up and metastasize. You just expand on that a bit.
It would be hard to do a trial on that, but we definitely need more research. We don't know if it's the tumor microenvironment. We don't know if it's something in the cell itself or outside influences somehow. If it's organ specific, do they act differently in different organs? So the whole tumor dormancy thing, as was brought up, first of all, they're difficult to see, to image, and to find specific, in a specific organ, in a specific place. So there's been very, very little organ-specific metastatic research done. I mean, there's not a whole lot to begin with. I think I've heard, maybe 2 to 5% of cancer research is about metastases. So we have a real long ways to go, and yet metastatic disease is the disease that kills people.
When we look at the results of clinical trials, we are looking at endpoints. In other words, that which is measured by the clinical trial. And usually in the trials you see here in San Antonio, you see progression-free survival. Maybe, if you're lucky, you see overall survival. But it's important to be aware of what progression-free survival actually represents. It has to do with the growth of a tumor. That's what response rate is, too. That's tumor shrinkage. Now, when you're talking about dormancy, dormancy is not captured by these measures. In other words, a tumor that just stays the way it is not captured by these measures. And until we really start focusing in this area, I don't think we're going to make the kind of progress we need to.
I've made a decision that I'm really going to try to work with early stage breast cancer groups to help them understand the importance of research about the causes of metastasis to their long-term survival. I was, as I indicated, an early stage survivor at one time. You worry about recurrence. If early stage people could see the importance and the difference that understanding the process of metastasis would make to their future, I think we would get more people to demand that that type of specific research be done beyond the percentage that Maria mentioned of 5% of all metastatic research, so that everyone would benefit. I mean, it's in everyone's interest. We just tend, though, because of our own situations, focus, on what we have rather than joining forces.